Welcome back to BlackHat 2025. We're live recording from the Cyber Risk TV studios at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm your host, Jackie McGuire, and joining me is Jawahar Sivasnankaran. I imagine it's just as difficult for you to pronounce as when I go to Asia and they try to pronounce McGuire, but he's president at Cyware. Jawa, thank you for joining us today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, Jackie.
Thanks. We are going to talk about a whole bunch of things today, but I thought it would be cool to start with can you tell us a little bit about your background? Because I always am fascinated by, we all come into security from very different areas. So tell a little bit about your background and then kind of what led you to Cyware and what's interesting right now.
Yeah. So thanks for having me, first of all. Super excited to have this chat. I've been in the cybersecurity industry for almost close to 3 decades, 27, 28 years now. Started in the 90s as a practitioner, then did engineering products, built products in the 2000s, then moved into go-to-market leadership roles, customer success, sales, pre-sales, channel sales, marketing.
So you're technical, but you also like people.
Correct, absolutely. And I also like money, right? So that's part of this as well. So,
girl, same.
Yeah, there you go, right? So super excited to be part of Cyware. Bringing all of that experience. I joined Cyware almost close to a year now, 8, 9 months now. I joined as a president, running all of the go-to-market functions. What led me to Cyware is the focus on cyber threat intelligence, because what I've seen over the course of the last 25 plus years in the industry is we chase the wrong things as an industry.
No.
We do. And for me, cyber threat intelligence is one area where there should be a lot more focus across the industry. The good news is we're seeing that just in terms of our interaction with customers, the wins we're having in the market, the innovation that we're bringing to the market. So super excited to be part of Cyware.
Yeah, that's awesome. So in cyber threat intelligence, I think is one of the areas, I agree, we don't spend enough time. And quite frankly, most of the really cool people in security I like to hang out with are doing something in and around cyber threat intelligence. So what's the state of that market right now? Like because we're having to really rapidly evolve to keep up with the rate of change within security and all of the associated areas. So what is the current state of cyber threat intelligence? What are we doing well and what are we not doing well?
What we're clearly seeing the market going is a unified strategy around cyber threat intelligence. What used to be, there was a feed part of it, Intel feed. Then you got a TIP platform, a threat intelligence platform. Then you got other pieces that made up the full story. That was then, I would say, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. That was the case.
And they're all spitting out alerts. And your SIM is just like brrrr.
Exactly. And you got analysts, either you're a SOC analyst or maybe you're a CTI analyst that's focused on CTI, and you're just bombarded with alerts coming in. And the alert fatigue is absolutely real. So part of this is how do we come up with a unified threat intelligence management approach, and which is really where we're going. Yeah. And we've taken some good steps towards that already this year. So earlier this year in February, we took our platform, integrated that with a market-leading threat intelligence feed. So great check for us. So if somebody is coming in, I want a feed plus a threat intelligence platform, unify that, we got that done. Then we introduced a couple of months after that in April, compromised credential management. That's integrated into the CTI fabric itself.
So basically like a have I been pwned on steroids, right?
Correct. And then last week, we've gotten some new innovation into the platform itself, and that includes domain sightings. Now we're talking about dark web, domain monitoring, all of those things getting integrated in. Sandboxing, malware detonation. It's not new. It's been around for a long time. But how about integrating that into the core CTI program? That's not usually
something I see security teams doing really well. I was just talking about sandboxing with a very large company, CISO, and I was like, why don't you just make it easier for your employees to sandbox and create more secure sandboxes if they're gonna FAFO with AI?
Yeah. The problem with that is sandboxing, it has always been an island of itself, right? Where it's seen like, hey, I got to take my malware sample, put it in a cloud, detonate it. Look at, that's the process that has not changed much. I think the key is integrate that with your cyber threat intelligence program and what you have, and that's the unified approach that we're driving.
So you're testing the right things in the right places more efficiently?
Correct.
All right, so we're going to have to talk about AI because, and I really think a year ago at BlackHat, most security people were like, I'm sick of hearing about AI. Like, that's never going to be in security. And it was like, just put policies in place to block everything, right? Now, 180, right? It's like everybody now security is like, okay, we realize that this is a thing. It's here to stay. And now we need to start working better with our internal customers in the enterprise to secure the things that they're trying to do. So as we're seeing this kind of rush to adapt agentic AI and all of the new AI solutions that security tools are rolling out, like what do you think, what's your take on where it's okay to introduce AI and automation and agents and where you really, really still need a human there to kind of have at least a hand on the wheel?
Yeah, yeah. Agentic AI is real as we as an industry, as we march towards this notion of autonomous SOC. So agents are going to play a very, very critical role. And I can tell that for sure in the cyber threat intelligence space. So what we've done is we've automated things. We've been automating things for the last 30 years in the market. We had poll scripts. If you go back 25 years, I've written poll scripts myself, right? Where you go tell a tool to go do a specific task. That's automation.
Loops
Correct. That's automation, right? In terms of you go, hey, I've got this script, go run this, right? But where we are seeing that shift with agentic AI is you want to look at outcomes that you want to achieve, right? Rather than telling a tool to go run a script, how about telling your entire system to go contain a phishing attempt that is in, right? So now you're talking about multiple agents kicking in and doing the thing that they're supposed to do. And that is very much true in the CTI space. So if you look at CTI and where we are going with our quarterback AI strategy is automating a lot of things that would require a human in the loop. That could be parsing threat intelligence information, enrichment of that threat intelligence information, contextualization, right, which is super, super important. You get an IOC, what do you do with that without the right context to apply? And AI and an agentic AI or multi-agent fabric-based AI approach, driving that and eventually leading to better outcomes, because what we want to do is we want to automate some of the actioning pieces as well. But you have to do some of these front-end parts the right way so that you're not automating bad stuff that actually sets you back with your overall AI journey.
And I think the piece of so I will say, I'm a fan of agentic AI if for nothing else than I spent months ranting against LLMs. One, because their training data is absolute trash because it's mostly Western internet, which is absolute trash. And two, they're expensive, they're inefficient. They are arguably for probabilistic and deterministic things, they're the least efficient thing to use. So I was actually really happy when agentic started to kind of outpace just plain LLMs in terms of how people were using them, because I think you can make them very prescriptive, you can contain them significantly better. One of the things that still concerns me though is now we've gone from, all right, let's automate context and gathering telemetry to we're like, okay, now let's automate remediation. Let's actually take steps. So what do you need in place in terms of guardrails and things like that to turn all of this, this threat intelligence and all of the context into something you can do something about without automating a disaster?
Yeah.
Because patching, all
question.
of these things are really, really hairy anyway, right? Like we've seen people take down entire cloud networks with a bad patch. So like, do you have as much stress about this as I do? Because it's one of the things I think about at night.
You've lived through as well, the IDS to IPS transition that happened in the early 2000s from intrusion detection to intrusion prevention, right? IDS is dead, long live IPS, and the whole point is automating the response itself. So coming to agentic AI and specific to CTI, cyber threat intelligence, the remediation part is going to be absolutely key, because that's where you're going to get the economic benefits as well as the efficiencies and the efficacy that you can drive.
They keep your CEO writing checks.
With an autonomous SOC model, right? But part of that is, as you move from, let's say, parsing, enrichment, contextualization, summarization, that's all threat intelligence data. But now you're taking action. A good example would be, hey, you're invoking playbooks automatically through an agent that can go invoke the right playbook. That could be the first step. Then you're automating the coding process itself of building a new playbook. If you look at it, hey, you don't want to jump into building a playbook, automating that right away, without actually going through the first step of you got to set up playbooks that's pre-written. But now your agentic AI or multi-agent fabric, it takes the decision to go invoke the right agent Once you got that, once you got a good experience with that, then you go low code, no code, and the Cyber Orchestrate platform exactly does that. Now you can go automatically create playbooks, newer playbooks, to take action based on what you've seen in the front end of the CTI lifecycle.
This is great in theory, but in order for this to work, I think model context protocol is the one of the kind of key things that we need, because one of the real issues I think with agentic AI and all of the different is that we had all these different companies spring up kind of simultaneously, offering kind of similar capabilities, but no real framework for how these things should talk to each other. What types of data you should expect, what types of responses you should expect. So MCP seems to be kind of stepping up to fill that void. And I know Cyware just decided has its own MCP. So can you tell us about your MCP server and kind of what role you think model context protocol is going to play in AI and security?
Yeah, hot off the press this week. Today's what, Thursday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
We officially announced our open source MCP server. So that a SOC analyst, CTI analyst that's working on an LLM platform can interact with the cyber products, right? Starting with our CTIX, which is our threat intel exchange platform, and Cyber Orchestrate, which is our orchestration platform. Works with Cursor, works with cloud. We also anticipate supporting other LLMs as well in the near future. But absolutely, MCP is the way to go. And we've open sourced it. It's available on GitHub as of Tuesday, as of day before. And we will be working towards standardization. And one of the things that we're super proud of what we've done, Cyber, is we standardize STIX and taxi. It's been around in the market for a long time. And one of the things, I'm relatively new, but the team has built is put down the hammer and said, hey, we want to make sure that STIX and taxi is the way we're going to build our products, our architecture, the way we're going to go to market. So we have that rich history built to support an ecosystem standards-based approach. And we will continue to work on that as we look at agentic AI.
I think it's a perfect time to be playing around in open source. And so it's really interesting to me the kind of waves of innovation, and that most things on the internet were open sourced through the 90s. And then you had this massive venture capital and private equity boom through the dot-com boom, where they really only wanted to invest in defensible IP, which really meant stuff that doesn't talk to other stuff, right? Because the best way to have defensible IP is to have a proprietary data format. And now we're kind of switching back to, with millennials coming into power in the enterprise, they really prefer collaboration and won't tolerate these proprietary formats and things like that. So I think it's really interesting to see how and AI is pushing us to adopt more, share more information, establish more standards, establish more collaboration between vendors. So it's great to see Cyware kind of leading the way with this open source MCP server, because I really think in the next couple years, that's where a majority of companies who have maybe historically not played nicely with other people, that's where they're going to have to go if they want to be able to maintain market share and customer share, because their customers are going to be looking for that collaborative kind of attitude.
Absolutely. I think the key differentiation is open source versus standards approach, right? Both are equally important. And where Cyber we thrive and we're super proud of is driving that standards. And we have
open source where everybody's got the same rule book, right?
Exactly. The standard space is super important. So we have our Collaborate platform through which we drive collective defense. A good chunk of that platform uses with ISACs. So we work with pretty much all of the major ISACs, and they're our customers, they're our partners. That's another thing that we're super proud of. And then speaking of standards, we drive taxi-based threat sharing, right? We don't want to push APIs. We don't want to push bulk updates. Those things can be done if there is a true exception. But when it comes to threat sharing, we drive taxi as a standard. So we're truly proud of that, and we want to continue to drive that in the agentic AI world.
And maybe just to finish up, I think since you're a practitioner and you've spent so long in, kind of deep in the trenches, if I'm a CISO and I don't have a 7-figure budget and I'm really resource constrained, where do I start? How do I start leveraging threat intelligence in a efficient way?
Yeah. You don't need a 7-figure budget to get started. Obviously, if you're big, there's definitely a need for that. The first thing I would say is take a unified approach. This is 2025. The 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, you had a threat intel feed, maybe an open source feed, maybe a commercial feed, maybe some advisories that you got, and you tried to see all of them as different islands. First thing is take a unified approach. Look at your CTI program as this life cycle that you're managing across all of these, not just tools, but also your processes so that you're getting a better outcome. The second one is look for standards-based approach, right? The stick stacksy that we talk, right? And something that you can bank on so that there's integrations that you can do with other tools, because you're not going to get one vendor that can do it all.
Right.
And even if you have a CTI vendor, a lead CTI vendor like Cyber, we still do 400 integrations with firewall players, with SIM players, with all of those others, right? Yeah. So make sure you're looking for somebody that's doing that.
That plays nicely with others.
Exactly. So that's the second part. And then the third one is look for quick wins, I would say, right? Especially as you're looking at agentic AI. So you've got human in the loop, right? And as you're transforming that, right, you got AI in the loop, that's where you're starting. Then you got human in the loop. And then as you move towards more of the agentic full-on SOC, right, as you're driving it, autonomous SOC with agentic AI, AI takes over more of the actions, especially the repetitive tasks, right? It's not automation. We're truly talking about an agentic AI approach here, and take that as a phased approach. So those are the things I would say, right? Take a comprehensive view of your CTI program, look for standards-based approach, and then leverage AI and look for those small wins as you scale yourself. And then in 18, 24 months, you look back, you'd have gained a lot of momentum and progress.
Awesome. That's great advice. Joa, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure we could have gone quite a bit longer. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but where can everybody find you? You have a booth, I assume, in the hall?
We do have a booth in the hall. We do have a capture the flag exercise as well, a challenge that people can take and win a challenge coin, a medal. Some exciting stuff happening in the booth. Please visit us. We're here all day. And go to cyber.com, and my information should be available as well. If there's anything that we can help with CTI, we're here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Appreciate it.
All right. Stay tuned. If you'd like to learn more about Cyware, please visit securityweekly.com/CywareBH. And for the rest of our 2025 Black Hat coverage, you can visit securityweekly.com/BlackHat. We are going to be back live with great interviews and a bunch of new guests, so please stay tuned. I'm Jackie McGuire. We'll be right back from the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada for Black Hat 2025.